And I think exclusion is also the most fundamental social technology, right? School is a social setting, but it's not a natural one. It's an artificial environment that we've created for educational purposes where we're bringing kids together that, some of whom don't really want to be there. And we have to figure out how to do that in a way that's functional despite the wide range of possible behaviors that could occur. And now that we're thankfully in an era when we don't use harsh punishments, we don't use corporal punishment, we don't use lots of things that have been used throughout history to kind of control behavior. One of the best tools that's available to us is exclusion. And I think exclusion is also the most fundamental social technology, right? So I think that is the very basis of human society, that, inclusion depends on behaving right, acting right, and behaving in a way that's compatible with other people's. And in an artificial environment like a school that is a social environment, we have to take responsibility for that as adults, because the kids don't have a choice, right? The kids have to be there. They have to deal with whatever the other kids' behaviors are that we're willing to tolerate. And there's this idea going around now that exclusion is cruel in some way. And I think what people miss when they say that about inclusion is they don't realize that everybody's being excluded from the intended purpose of the activity if anybody is allowed to disrupt it, right? If we're all here to learn and Justin is shutting down the learning by being terrible in some way or hurting people or disrupting whatever Justin is doing, then the only alternative to excluding Justin is to just let go of the purpose of why we're here in the first place. But it's so important that we not take them out of the classroom, that we're going to allow the whole reason we're there to be completely undermined. Like, this just does not make any sense to me. And people are explicitly advocating for that now. And I think that's just kind of madness.
But suddenly in a school, we have different logic.
I think we get so afraid of those extreme cases, though, that we get ridiculous in the other direction and say, okay, like, even when we have actual violence in the classroom, we have to tolerate it because we don't want to trigger the school to prison pipeline. Well, it's like, in that case, it's the violence that's going to probably get this kid landed in jail. If we allow kids to bully one another in the classroom and don't do anything about it because we don't want to call the police or we don't want to suspend, well, all of that spills over into real world violence and real world consequences in ways that, probably were kind of predictable, but really are showing up in the data now. That, like, we're not doing kids any favors on the school to prison pipeline front by being more lenient about bad behavior at all. It's back. And I think when we make kids realize that there are no boundaries, we're not doing our job as adults. Maybe it's me. I don't think that's a good message for kids to get. And it certainly is not conducive to education.